You know, I've been celebrating spooky season since August, but it is officially October, and I wanted to go through my top 10 just like Halloween eyeshadow palettes. I'm a huge eyeshadow junkie, and I love spooky palettes. I feel like that's something that's a little bit harder to find. I feel like a lot of people come out with like fall palettes, but not like actual branded Halloween eyeshadow palettes. So I picked out 10 out of my collection for you guys. For some reason, I feel like this year there hasn't been very many new spooky palettes, but last year they were cranking them out. So I actually ended up buying like a ton last year, and I had so much fun trying out so many different palettes. And yeah, these are just gonna be like the tippy top of the top that I actually use a lot in my everyday makeup routine. Of course, most of these are gonna be smaller brands because I feel like it's usually the indie brands that come out with the Halloween palettes. But yeah, I thought this would be the perfect video for October. So if you're curious on what palettes that I love for spooky season, stay tuned. Let's start with probably the most well-known brand here. We have Colourpop, and they do come out with some really fun collab palettes. This one officially came out last year, and I'm so glad that they brought it back again. I know a lot of you guys purchased it this year because last year it sold out like that. But this is the Colourpop in Haunted Mansion Welcome Foolish Mortals eyeshadow palette. How pretty is this? I'm such a Disney lover. I literally have on a Disney World Spirit jersey right now that also is covered in cat hair. I remember this came out last year when I was actually at Disney World with a bunch of my other YouTube friends, and I don't know, that is just so special, and I just think they did a really good job on this one. So here is the outside of the palette. I think this one is still in stock as I'm filming, hopefully. They just restocked this a couple weeks ago. And then inside you have this Beware. You have the Haunted Mansion kind of wallpaper print, and then the colors inside are so good in my opinion. Now Colourpop, they like to keep things a little more neutral but still taking some elements of the ride. So it's a ride at Disney World in Disneyland. If you guys didn't know, that's where the Haunted Mansion originally came from, and they have had a couple movies about it too. Their first one was with Eddie Murphy, and then if you guys have watched the newest one too, that one came out last year. I really liked both movies, honestly, but I personally liked this color story. I thought it fit the ride well. Some people are saying they didn't like it as much, but I don't know. I thought it fit. I feel like when you're in the Haunted Mansion, these are the colors that I think of: the browns, the grays, the purples, the blues, and then you have some different kind of white iridescent colors in there too. This is such a fun one. The shimmers in this palette aren't like wow, super metallic in your face shimmers, but it does have a couple of glitters that you can add to amp up the kind of sparkle. But I love this palette, and I'm so glad that they restocked this one this year because this is just a classic in my collection. Another Colourpop I had to mention, even though you can't get it anymore, I'm hoping maybe they'll do a restock of this one because I think they're supposed to be doing a new TV show. But this is their Colourpop Hocus Pocus 2 palette. So this was, I think, a couple years ago now when the second Hocus Pocus movie came out. This is their third Hocus Pocus palette, and in my opinion, it's the best. This is the All Hallows Eve. It does have the cartoon Hocus Pocus characters on this one because, I mean, you can't really put the real life characters on here. I feel like that would be a little bit odd, but this was such a good palette, and I absolutely loved the quality of this one. The colors included seemed very witchy and fit the theme so well. These greens are so fun. I absolutely love the look that I did with this, and I'll link that if I can find it for you. I'm probably gonna throw up some like videos in here too and clips with these palettes if I have them, but this was so good. One of Colourpop's best palettes. Sometimes they have really good quality, sometimes it's in the middle. This one was the good Colourpop formula, and the shimmers in here are absolutely beautiful. Definitely very metallic. Like I was saying, the Haunted Mansion one, they aren't quite as sparkly, but these are just wow. I really hope they do bring this one back. It's so much better than the other two they did. Their first Hocus Pocus collab, it did go very viral and it sold out instantly, but I didn't love the quality of it. And then the second one just wasn't as exciting, but they really nailed it with their third collab. Next, I did want to show this one. This one, I guess you could say this is Halloween. I think it came out during spooky season. This is by Fantasy Cosmetica. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow brands, and this is their Warlock palette. And I just thought this was so fun. Again, I feel like these are very fun, kind of spooky, witchy colors. Obviously, a warlock is a male witch, I'm pretty sure. I just love Fantasy Cosmetica shimmers. They're so glimmery and so beautiful. And yes, this is definitely a very out there color story, but it is so unique. Oh my gosh, this green, this lime green, so good. And then this pink shimmer all over the lid. Wow, I loved the look I did with this one. I definitely have a full video on this, I think. And yeah, I'm just so impressed with their formula. So I definitely wanted to include one from Fantasy Cosmetica. And I have codes with a lot of these brands, so I'll pop that on the screen as well if this is something you want to check out. This one should still be in stock. I just think the quality of this one overall is excellent. Like if you want those extra sparkly, super wet feeling shimmers, and the mattes are also really good here too. This is a perfect witchy vibe palette. Okay, now Glamlite is kind of the new, I guess you would call them the queens of Halloween, kings of Halloween. They started doing so many Halloween palettes, especially last year, and this year they have a bunch coming up. I really wish they would put their Halloween releases out earlier, because they're just starting to sneak peek them now. Like we're just seeing their new Halloween collection coming out. I believe that's the one with Michael Myers. We're just seeing sneak peeks of that now. And I think they have more things that they're doing and that are coming out, but I loved this one from last year. This was my favorite from them. It's better than the Chucky. It's way better than the Friday the 13th, the Jason palette, all of that. This is their Ghostface palette, and yes, it is Ghostface from the Scream movies. What was it? I did a TJ Maxx video, and there was a Scream face mug, and I said, oh, I love this little Ghostface mug, and people are like, Ghostface? That's Scream. I'm like, but its name is Ghostface. I never really knew that either until like this collab came out, because yeah, I've seen some of the Scream movies. I just never really put that together, but this is such a good one. I love the outer packaging here, and then the colors inside are perfect. This is a very much kind of gray silver scale palette, but it definitely fits the vibes. Everyone was like, I want a red in here, and I think they are doing like a second rendition of this with a red in the palette, but I am happy without the reds. You'll notice a lot of my spooky palettes do not have reds in them. I do not like red eyeshadow, so I don't really pick those kind of palettes out. I prefer something like this, and I just love the colors included in here. Some of the best formulas for mattes in the shimmers. Stunning. I did do a dedicated video on this one, I'm pretty sure, but all the detail that Glamlite includes into their packaging, even some of the shadows have different press like characters on them and stuff like that, little letters on them. Each of the shimmers have different shifts to them in different tones, so it might all look like you would get the same look out of it, but I feel like you can get some different looks with this one, and the quality is just so great. One of the best like black shadows too that I have in my entire makeup collection. I just adored this palette. And then I also wanted to include this one because I really liked this one. This is one of their older ones, and I don't even know if you can get this anymore. I'm not seeing it on their website right now, but I know sometimes they do sales and bring stuff back, but I really liked the Scooby-Doo palette, the Rut-Row Raggy one. I thought this was excellent quality. Again, these tones, so fun for Halloween, but I also grew up watching Scooby-Doo, and they did like a creepy Scooby-Doo. I also have their big Scooby-Doo palette that's more spring. But this is what I used to watch. Like this, I'm pretty sure that's Creeper, right? That's his name. I've seen like all the old Scooby-Doo episodes. That show's been on for ages, and it just brings me back to my childhood. And I just thought this was such a fun, like creepy, spooky palette with the greens included, these like muted blues and purples, and then the shimmers in here are just wow. I feel like this is one of the first palettes of Glamlite that like really got me into their eyeshadow palettes, and most of their palettes are excellent quality. There's some that fall into the cracks that I feel like are not as good, but this was such a good one. I remember this was on clearance for So Cheap too for a while, and I do hope that they do bring this back or like have it in a sale, because I think it is such a good one. I love that they did like the Scooby-Doo monsters for this collection. I actually have a couple palettes from BellaBeauteBar as well, and oh my gosh, this one was so popular last year. But BellaBeauteBar does make some of my favorite shimmers. They're like the melty, smooth, yummy shimmers. Just so impressed with their quality. And this basic witch palette, just wow. Again, this is actually the first palette that got me into BellaBeauteBar. I do not buy all their palettes. They just came out with a fun vampire one for Halloween this year, but again, I don't like red, so I didn't pick it up. But this color story, yes, like I feel like I have kind of similar ones to this. Like I feel like this kind of looks like the Colourpop Hocus Pocus. I mean, kind of, right? But yeah, this is very, very good quality, very vibrant. BellaBeaute's shimmers to me are just like none other. They literally feel like liquid when you put it on the eyes, and they are so smooth. They're not super duper flaky. They're not too glittery. They're just so unique, and they make such pretty shifty colors as well. But this was just such a fun witchy color story with the purples, the bright pinks, the greens. Just stunning. I think this was like in my top 10 palettes of the entire year last year. I still think it's one of the best spooky season palettes, and I definitely recommend their formula. Recommend checking this out because now you can finally get it. I know last year it was gone for the longest, and then you know what, I finally picked up this. This is what I have on my eyes, also from BellaBeauteBar, the Strange and Unusual eyeshadow palette. Now, I think they came out with this one quite a while back, but they recently redid it last year with their updated formula. I never tried the old one, so I don't know what that was like, but this one, so good. And this is, I think, an unlicensed Beetlejuice palette. I don't think it's a real licensed one because that's why it's called Strange and Unusual, but like it has the drawing cartoon version of it. But yeah, the colors just wow. The inside says, I myself am strange and unusual. And yeah, you have like the bright green in here. I don't think this lime green is the best. It doesn't show up the brightest. But this Beetlejuice is like the perfect Beetlejuice green. Like you literally put it on your eyes and it looks like Beetlejuice. This blue, purple, green shift right here called Afterlife is what I have on my lid. And it is just insane. You'll see kind of in the swatches, but yeah, their shimmers are just wow. Like you will be so impressed when you guys tried them and put them on the eyes. Their mattes were pretty good too. Yeah, just I didn't love the neon green in here, but everything else stunning. Like such a unique color story. I feel like it still fits the movie though, and it's definitely the best Beetlejuice inspired palette that I have personally seen. Alright, I wanted to include this one. This is from Unearthly, and this is their Sorceress Smoke palette. I know it's not like super obvious Halloween, but I would definitely consider this a Halloween palette, especially when you open it up and get into the shade names. But this did release around the fall Halloween time, and this is one of my favorite just like fall neutral palettes. I'm a neutral girl, so I do love a good multi-chrome, but usually I'm wearing neutrals, and I really like Unearthly's formula too. I do sometimes wish that their mattes just had a little bit more pigment to them right away when you put them on the lid, but you can definitely build them up. But this is beautiful. Like they have shades like Nightshade, Ritual, Sorceress, Transfix, Vervain for vampires. So obviously it's pretty spooky in my opinion, and I just think it is so fun. I feel like Unearthly does a lot of just like spooky palettes in general all year round, so they're definitely a brand to check out if you like spooky kind of things like this. This I've worn so much. It's just an easy reach. It's fun and spooky, but also just very good for every day, and the shimmers are so glimmery and pretty on the lid, so I had to recommend this one. This one came out last year, and it's a collab with Angelica Nyqvist, one of my friends here, and she did 2 Halloween palettes, but I really enjoy this one here, the Trick or Treat one. I just think these colors are so fun. This bright green right here is one of the brightest greens I've ever tried. Like comparing it to the Beetlejuice palette I shared earlier from BellaBeauteBar, this green does knock that one out of the water. It is so vibrant. I did such a fun orange green look with this. I still can't get over. It just gave me spooky pumpkin vibes, Oogie Boogie. I loved it so much, and I think this is such good quality. The mattes are really pigmented and it's just so unique as well. I think it's supposed to be inspired by Halloween candy, which I think is really fun. But yeah, Angie did such a good job with this one. It is such a fun one. I don't love the other one as well. I think it's like Little Ghost. It's like blues and pinks. This one speaks more Halloween to me. And last but not least, I had to include, and these are in no order by the way, I love them all the same. This is my Nomad Ghost Town USA palette. This is kind of a subtle spooky palette. They did not do a Halloween one this year, which I'm kind of sad about because they like knocked it out of the park with this. But this is even one I wear all year long. It's another really nice kind of neutral one, but it's seriously my top palette from Nomad. But yeah, they did a ghost town inspired palette, and Nomad usually does different city themes, places. So I thought that was really cool. And then here is the inside. Oh my gosh, these colors, oh, these are everything. All very muted, kind of cooler tones. We have the neutral browns, we have the subtle kind of teal blues, and the greens. These are all colors that I definitely lean towards and go for, again, on the daily. And I love that it's very neutral, and neutral with a pop of color, which I do enjoy so much. The quality is excellent. I love Nomad's mattes. I feel like they have such a good quality. Their shimmers are really nice too, but this really is one of their best quality palettes. I know sometimes their shimmers have been hit or miss. They're not quite as shiny as, let's say, BellaBeauteBar, but they are still like so gorgeous and sparkly and beautiful on the eyes. This also made my top 10 palettes of the year last year too. So those are my top 10. I do have more fun spooky palettes in my collection, but I really wanted to narrow this down to the best of the best, the ones I think are the best quality, worth your money, some that you can get a lot of use out of, and some that just like scream Halloween and are just so fun, like I had to mention them. Again, I'll have all of these linked down below. I think I have a code on almost every single one of these palettes if you want to save some money. Some of these I bought myself, some was sent in PR, but you guys know I'm always honest about my thoughts on my eyeshadow palettes. It's just that like these mainstream brands like that are at Sephora and Ulta don't really make Halloween palettes, I've noticed, but I am here for it. I wish there was more new ones that launched this year, but it seems like last year was the year for Halloween. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna let you guys go, but also let me know down below any of your favorite Halloween palettes or ones you think I should definitely check out. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.